It's time for section 3-1 about lines and angles. Our key concept from this section will be that not all lines and not all planes intersect. So the first thing that we're going to look at is parallel lines. Parallel lines are coplanar lines that do not intersect. So they need to lie on the same plane, but they can never intersect. So here we have line L and line M, and they are parallel because they lie on the same, plane, and they will never intersect. Next, we want to talk about skew lines. So skew lines are non-coplanar lines that are not parallel but do not intersect. So we usually can think of this on something like a cube. So lines CD and lines AB are skew lines because they're non-coplanar. They do not lie on the same side of this shape, but they aren't parallel and they don't intersect. So CD will never intersect AB because they're not non-coplanar and they're not parallel. Now we want to talk about parallel planes. Parallel planes are planes that do not intersect, so it's really similar to parallel lines. So, for example, we have plane ABCD and plane PQRS. These guys will never intersect. They're usually like, we can think of them as being on opposite sides of a cube. They're never going to intersect each other, even if we extend them in all directions. They'll never cross each other. Let's try applying this to this shape. So go ahead and try to find the segments that are parallel to segment AB here. So pause the video and go ahead and try to find the three segments that are parallel to segment AB. Now that you've had a chance to work on that on your own, we'll go over it together. So segments that are going to be parallel to AB are going to be segment CD, segment EH, and segment FG. Now, let's try to find the segments that are skew to segment CD. So go ahead and pause the video and find the four segments that are skew to segment CD. Now that you've had a chance to work on that on your own, we'll go over it together. So skew means they're non-coplanar, but they're not parallel. So segments that are going to be skew to CD would be BG and AF and EF and HG. None of them are coplanar with CD and none of them are parallel to CD, so they're skew. Now I would like you to try to name two pairs of parallel planes. So a pair of parallel planes would be two planes that are parallel to each other. Try to find two pairs of parallel planes. Go ahead and pause the video and try to find two pairs of parallel planes. Now that you've had a chance to work on that on your own, let's go over it together. So one pair of parallel planes could be plane ABCD and plane FGHE. Another pair of parallel planes could be plane CHED and plane BGFA. We could also have plane BCHG and plane AFED. Those would be the three different possible pairs of parallel planes. Let's look at some more vocabulary. So a transversal is a line that intersects two or more coplanar lines at distinct points. Distinct meaning they're separate, they're not the same point. So that just means that our two lines don't lie on top of each other and they don't intersect at the point where the transversal crosses them. So this right here, line L and line M, are cut by transversal T at two distinct points. When we're looking at two lines cut by a transversal, we like to talk about the interior and the exterior. So the interior is going to be the space in between the lines. So that's our interior. And then the exterior is going to be the space that is outside of our two lines. So the blue is going to be our exterior. We have special names for the pairs of angles that are formed when we cut two lines by a transversal. The first one is alternate interior angles. They are non-adjacent interior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. That's a lot of crazy words to mean this. Here we have angle 1 and angle 2. Those would be alternate interior angles. And angle 3 and angle 4 would also be alternate interior angles. Next, we want to look at same side interior angles. Same side interior angles are interior angles that lie on the same side of the transversal. So all that means is here we have angle 1 and angle 2 would be same side interior angles, and angle 3 and angle 4 here would be same side interior angles. Next, let's look at corresponding angles. Corresponding angles lie on the same side of the transversal and in corresponding positions. So, for example, angles 1 and 2 would be corresponding angles. Angles 3 and 4 would be corresponding. Angles 5 and 6 would be corresponding. And angles 7 and 8 would be corresponding angles. Last but not least, let's talk about alternate exterior angles. So these are non-adjacent exterior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. For example, angles 1 and 7 would be alternate exterior angles, and angles 2 and 8 would be alternate exterior angles. Now it's time for some practice. So let's go ahead and look at this diagram. We have line L and line M, and these lines are cut in two distinct points by transversal T. Two distinct points. So go ahead and try to find a pair of alternate interior angles on this diagram. Go ahead and pause the video, try to find a pair of alternate interior angles. Now that you've tried that out on your own, let's go ahead and take a look at it together. So a pair of alternate interior angles, they're non-adjacent interior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. So a pair of alternate interior angles, one would be angle 4 and angle 6, or you could have also said angle 3 and angle 5. Okay, now we're going to try to find same side interior angles. Go ahead and pause the video, find a pair of same side interior angles. Now that you've had a chance to work on that on your own, let's take a look. So one pair of same side interior angles, keeping in mind that they are interior angles that lie on the same side of the transversal. One pair could be angle 4 and angle 5. Another pair could be angle 3 and angle 6. Now we're going to try to find corresponding angles. So go ahead and pause the video, try to find a pair of corresponding angles. Now that you've had a chance to work on that on your own, let's take a look. Corresponding angles lie on the same side of the transversal and in corresponding positions. So one possible pair of corresponding angles would be angle 1 and angle 5. Another possible pair could be angle 2 and angle 6. Another possible pair could be angle 4 and angle 7. And our last possible pair could be angle 3 and angle 8. Alright, finally we're going to try to find a pair of alternate exterior angles. Go ahead and pause the video, try to find a pair of alternate exterior angles. Now that you've had a chance to work on that on your own, let's take a look at it together. So alternate exterior angles are non-adjacent exterior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. So one possible pair of alternate exterior angles would be angle 1 and angle 8. You could have also said angle 2 and angle 7.